let's say we want to factor this trinomial. So that means that I want to write it in a set of brackets like this and this, where I would have n plus something or minus something times n plus something or minus something. So that would all be going all in here. Okay, so in class we worked on something that we called the area model, and we're going to use that on the side here just to aid in our thinking. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little box here, and the goal here is to eventually move away from this box, but it is a really good place to start. So this isn't so much a box, it looks kind of more like a window actually. So after I've drawn my window, I'm going to want to have n squared minus 14n plus 45 be the entire area. And one thing that I do know is that this area over here is going to be represented by n squared, and this area over here is going to be represented by positive 45. Okay, so I know a couple things off the top. First of all, this is going to be n, and this is going to be n. But what remains to be seen is what this is equal to and what this is equal to, and therefore what's here and what's there. So that's our goal. So one thing that we do know is that this plus this must be equal to negative 14. Well, negative 14n. And I also know that what goes here and goes here, those two things, when I multiply them together, I get positive 45. So let's start off by looking at the factors of 45, because there's only so many factors of 45, whereas there's many, many things that add together to get negative 14n. So let's start off by listing some of the factors of 45 that we know. I'll start off by making a quick factor tree of 45. So here's 45, and I know that 45 is equal to 9 times 5, and 9 is equal to 3 times 3. So there's only so many things that multiply together to get 45. For example, 9 times 5 is 45, and also 15 times 3 is 45. And of course there's 1 times 45, but I don't think that's where we need to go. So it's going to be one of these two. So we want to think about, okay, so I want these two numbers to multiply together to get 45. Yeah, so that works. So it's going to be either 9 and 5 or 15 and 3. So the other requirement is that when I add them together, they have to equal negative 14. So if I were to add 9 and 5 together, I would get positive 14. So maybe we have to tweak it a little bit by making both of these negative. So if I made both of them negative, well, I would have negative 9 times negative 5, and that would still be positive 45. In addition to that, negative 9 plus negative 5 is negative 14. So I think that's where we need to go. So I'm going to have a negative 5 and a negative 9. And what I'm left with is, well, negative 9n. And over here, I would have negative 5n, because that's negative 5 times n. So it turns out that what we get is n minus 5 and n minus 9. Okay, one more time. We're going to do another example. This time we're not going to use that window method. So this time the variable is m, and the equation that I have, or I guess in this case is an expression, the expression that I have is m squared minus 13m plus 30. So again, I'm looking to turn this into two things. I'm going to multiply them together. I'm going to have m plus something or minus something, and m plus something minus something over there. The trick is I need to find two numbers. One number goes here, another number goes there. They need to multiply together to get 30, and they have to add together to get negative 13. Okay, so I'm going to start off by listing all the factors of 30 that I know. Okay, so I've got 30. Well, I'm going to make a quick factor tree of 30 to make things easy. So 30 is, well, that's 3 times 10, and 10 is 2 times 5. So I know that 30 could be written as, well, it could be 3 times 10. 30 could be written as 2 times 15. and 30 could be written as 5 times 6. So those are the possibilities for numbers that go inside here, okay? Well, let's just try a random one. Let's do this one over here. So 5 and 6, so if I add 5 and 6 together, I get 11. That's not 13. So let's try another one. If I add 2 and 15 together, well, that is going to give me 17, not negative 13. Must be this one then. So 3 times 10 is 30, but 3 plus 10 is 13. Now keep in mind we want negative 13, so we have to actually switch it up a little bit. So this is going to be both negative. So I've got negative 3 over here and negative 10 over here. Now, an important thing to do every once in a while is to check your answer. Make sure that what you did is actually correct. So let's use the distributive property just to double check that we did everything right. So I'm going to take this m, I'm going to multiply it by these two. I'm going to take this negative 3 and multiply it by these two. Okay, when we have this binomial times, another binomial, so when I've got this times this, all we have to really think about is that we're going to have all of these guys multiply all of these guys. Okay, so moving right along, let's do m times m, that's m squared, and I've got m times negative 10, that's minus 10m, and I've got negative 3 times m, that's negative 3m, and I've got negative 3 times negative 10, that's positive 30. Altogether, I've got m squared minus 13m plus 30. Okay, hope that helps, and I'll see you next time.